Hi, I'm Tom, and in this tutorial for FreeCAD BIM, I will show you how to place windows and doors into walls in FreeCAD. This sounds like an easy task, but it can sometimes prove to be a little tricky. I'm using FreeCAD 1.0 in this tutorial, and I recommend you watch the tutorial till the end because at the end I will show some tips for corner cases or problems that you might encounter. This is the final result that we will achieve. So a simple building with windows placed in it and some walls. So let's get to it. So I have switched to the start file where I've got only walls without windows or doors. If you want to follow along, you can download this start file from my Gumroad page for free. The link is in the description box below. So first things first, the important thing is that I've got the top working plane active and I'm working in BIM workbench, of course. And I've got this floor plan so that we know the positions of the windows and doors. First, where we will start is by placing these windows at the bottom wall. So first I will want to place this window, which is 2500 millimeters from this corner, and it's 1500 millimeters wide, and it's two-pane window. So back in FreeCAD, I will first start my window tool. And when you start window, you can see in the task panel that there are some presets, and the important thing is that I've got auto include in host object, so it's automatically placed in the wall and it automatically creates opening in the wall. And then there are some presets with height and these frame dimensions and offset dimensions. You can always see these options here in this diagram. So just to show you, if I place a window in a space like this, I click here, the window is created and it's placed, of course, outside of any walls and outside of any places. And the important thing is, if I start the window tool, again, be careful if you are creating a new window not to have an existing window selected. So I have to click away and now I can start creating window. I'm placing the window by its left corner from my point of view. Another important thing to note is that if I select a window and I delete it, what is left there is the sketch of the window. So this sketch doesn't matter if it's there, but I like to delete it too, and I will also delete this window and this sketch. So let's make sure I've got nothing selected and start the window command. And I will first look at the presets where I've got some presets of fixed window, one pane window, two pane window, and there are also presets of doors, because currently the window and door tool work very similarly, and you can change these presets, and now you can see that there are maybe more options and there's two panes. So I will choose the two pane window and I will set the sill height. We don't have any information about sill height here in the floor plan, but I will place it 900 millimeters above the ground level. And the width of the window is 1500, and I will also change the height to 1400. And I will leave all of these other presets as they are. So now let's start placing the window. And if I move my mouse cursor, you can see that the tool is highlighting faces, and based on which face I have highlighted, the window is oriented that way. So you have to be careful how you move your mouse, because also when you highlight this this floor face, the window will be oriented towards the floor. So I've got my snapping turned on, and I've got the endpoint turned on, and also I've got snap to working plane turned on, and again the top working plane. And now if I move my mouse here to the corner, you can see that I'm snapping to the corner, and I see that I've created the window a bit higher than I originally wanted to, so I will put the height to 1200. And sometimes you have to move your mouse a little bit to actually snap to the corner, but if I click there, I will place the window into the corner. There's actually no way that I know of that I can place it immediately where I want to. So I will place the window into the corner, and now I will select the window and fire up the move tool, and I will move the window 2500 millimeters this way to the right. So I can actually look from the top, and I will click somewhere here, hit shift to lock the axis to the x-axis, so shift and type in 2500 millimeters, hit enter, and the window is moved. So basically the placing of the window is two-step process usually. Now let's let's place the middle window, which is in the middle of this wall. So we will use snapping to the midpoint. So I will make sure I've got nothing selected. Then I will fire up the window tool. The presets are saved from the last used window. And now I can actually snap to the, because I've got midpoint, snapping to midpoint turned on. I can snap to the midpoint here and click, and the window is placed here. And because I know that the window is 1500 millimeters wide, I've placed it here at the left corner, so I need to move it left. I need to move it left 750 millimeters. So I will again select the window, fire up the move tool, click somewhere in the space, move my mouse here, hold shift, and type in as a local X, and now it's minus 750, so it's moved in the right direction. So now I've got the window moved here, and I will click away. Now let's place the third window, which will be again 2500 millimeters from this corner, and the width is the same. So again, I've got nothing selected. I will fire up the window tool. Now again, I'm snapping to this corner. And if I click, you can see that the window is placed outside of the wall, but luckily it's placed as part of the outside wall, which is this one. So I will select the window, and now again I will use the move tool, and I will click somewhere in the space, move my cursor here, hold shift so it's locked to the x-axis, and now it's minus 2500 plus the width of the window, so it's minus 4000 millimeters. Hit enter. Now, to make sure that the windows are placed well, I can select the outer edge, and with Control select this edge and use the measure tool, which will measure the distance, the shortest distance between these two edges. So this is 2500 millimeters. Now I will select this one. I actually click reset. I will select this one, and this edge is 2500 millimeters. I will click reset and choose this edge, and with Control choose this edge, and it's 3010 millimeters. And if I just measure it up, I can actually take a look that it makes sense from these these dimensions. So these windows are placed well in the wall. I will close the measure tool now. Now the windows are parametric, so if I select the windows and in the window and in the data properties, I will go, and basically what I don't like is that the frame of the window is placed aligned to this face of the wall. I wanted to move it a little bit back. I can actually use the offset property, and I will offset let's say 100 millimeters like this, so I can move the window inside of the wall. This is one option how to move the window. The other option is to use again the move tool, which I prefer, if it's possible, I prefer to do it with parameters, but to show you what's possible, I will switch the display mode to wireframe, so I've got only wires visible. I will switch to top view, and now I will select this window. I've got it selected. I will use the move tool, and let's say doesn't matter where I click, I will click here, move my mouse up, hold shift and type in 100 and hit enter, and the window is moved 100 millimeters. So again, if I switch my display mode to as is, it's basically the same, but the parameter now between these two windows will be different. So you can see that it's much quicker just to change the offset to 100, and you can also see if I change the opening to 45 degrees, you can see that the window is opening to the right side to inside. So this is nice, and you can also choose the symbol in elevation to change it to true. Oops, not the elevation, but the symbol in plan to true. And now in the plan view from the up, you will see how the window opens up. In my country, we usually don't show these symbol plans for windows, so I will change it to false, and I will turn it on for doors. So now let's place the windows on the other side, and they are located at the same positions. So what I will do is again rotate the building and then fire up the window tool, and now I will change the preset, and I will want to have the offset set to 100 already, and the offset is this value, so I will type 100 into 01. This is the offset 01, and now if I place my cursor here, so I'm snapping to the endpoint, you can see that the window is already offset. And now I will select it and use the move tool, just as I did previously, move it 2500. Oh, I did a mistake. I inserted positive 2500 millimeters, and it should have been negative. So I will go step back, redraw the file. The window is still selected, and use the move tool again. Click here, hold shift and type in
-2500.
So it's placed here. Now I will deselect everything, fire up window tool and place it here, and then select the window and move it in the positive direction, which will be again 4000 millimeters. And the last window, I will fire up again the tool. Now if it doesn't matter for you where exactly the window is placed, you could use the snap to near, and you can actually snap to any point here on the wall and place the window, but the problem with this is that you don't know exactly where the window is placed. It just depends on where you clicked. So if you want to place the window at an exact position, this is not the solution for me. So I will actually delete this window and delete the sketch, and I will fire up a new window tool. Do not use the snap to nearest. I will snap to the center of the wall and then select the window and move it to the right, to the left by 750 millimeters. Okay, so we've got our windows placed. Now let's jump into placing doors. And the first one that we will place is this one. And in my country, it depends, but this dimension is not the opening in the wall, but it's just width of basically the door leaf, so without the frame. And here, when we are placing windows, this is the opening including the frame, and this will be the opening excluding the frame. So we have to be careful about this, that the width of the outside doors is, the leaf width is 900 and the leaf width of the inside doors is 800. So let's go back to my project, and now I will fire up the door tool. And as I stated before, you will already know this, it's very similar to the window tool. You've got also presets. We will be using the simple door preset, and I will change the height to 2050 because that's more customary in my country. And you've got again some frame dimensions and offsets here, but what is important is the width including the frame, and the thickness of the frame is set to, I'm not sure which value is it now, but it will be, yeah, it's H1 and H2 is both set to 50. So if the leaf width is 900 and there's 50 on this side, 50 on this side, that makes 1000 width. So this is fine for us. And now again, placing the door, it behaves the same way as the window. So I will snap to the midpoint here and click here, because it's in the middle of this wall. And I've now placed it. Again, the left corner on the door is in the middle, so I again have to select the door and move it 500 millimeters because the overall width is 1000, so I will type in minus 5000 into 500 in the y direction. And now I can check again that that between this and this edge I've got 4850, which actually I'm off. Okay, let's reset and let's measure this one to this one. Okay, so there's a little bit of discrepancy in these values. I'm not sure why, but that doesn't matter now. The door is directly in the middle of the wall. Oh, actually that 50, it's the width of the frame, so I'm measuring the width including the frame, so it's all correct. Now you can see if I select the door that it's when I look at the data, its offset is 100 millimeters from this face, and if I look at my drawing, the frame should be flush with the outside wall. So I will actually change the offset to 0. And now let's take a look at the swing door opening, because it should be opening to the right side. So I will select the door, and you can check it by two ways. Check it by opening it, let's say 45 degrees, and you can see that it's actually opening the right way that I want to. And I will also turn on the plan symbol. I will set it to true, and now I can see in the plan view how the door is opening. So I actually don't need to have this opened. So this door is created well. Now again, let's create the second outer door, which is this one. It's again placed in the middle of this wall. The size is the same. And now let's take a look at here. I will again start the tool, and I will actually change the offset one to 0. That's the offset that I was changing at this door. And here we can see a little bit of problem from what we previously experienced, and that is that the door is not snapping to the middle of this line. This is because it's kind of overridden by snapping to the floor. So at the end of this tutorial, I will show you several methods how to solve this. But now I will show you the easiest one, and that is basically escaping out of this tool, closing without creating the door, and hiding the slab object. And now if I fire up the door tool again, I will just make sure that the offset was saved. Now it will be snapping to the midpoint. So this is a bit of a problem sometimes, that snapping to the endpoint or midpoint doesn't work as well when you have got floor just underneath there. So now I can place the door here. The offset was 0, so it's placed right here. I will select the door and move it that way 500 millimeters. Hit enter. And now let's check the opening. I've got the door selected. I will go to symbol plan, and it's opening this way. So let's check how it should be. It should be the other way around. So how do we change the opening of the door? Let's I will select it, and so that we see it also in 3D view. How do we check this the side leaf is opening to? We do that by selecting the door and then right-clicking it in the project tree view, and in these options you've got for the door invert opening direction and invert hinge position. The opening direction would change the door so that it opens to the outside, so we don't want that, so I will switch it back. But what we want to do is invert hinge position, and now the door will switch like this, so it opens up as here it should be. So I will now close the door. So this door is again created as it should be. Okay, it's moving on well. So now let's work on the inside doors, which are 800 millimeters wide without frame, and they are 150 millimeters from this corner, this door. But again, this is without the frame, so if we got 50 frame, it will be 100 millimeters from that corner. And you can see that these doors are created so that the frame has the depth of the wall, and the width of the wall is 150. So we need to set up the frame width or depth so that it matches the wall. So I will deselect everything, start the door tool again, and what we will do is change the width. Again, because it's with the frame, it's 800 plus 50 on this side and 50 on this side. So the overall width is 900 millimeters. The height we will leave as it is. And now the depth of the frame is the W1. So I will go to W1 and change it from 100 to 150. Okay, and hopefully this will work out well. So again, I will place the door at this corner, and then I want to, because it's placed this way, I want to move it basically the width of the door with the frame, so it's 900 plus 100, so 1000 millimeters. So I will select the door, fire up the move tool, click somewhere here, move my mouse here, hold shift and type in 1000, and you can see that the door is placed well, but what we've got here is something on the opposite wall. This is a feature of the door, which is the depth of the hole is actually cutting through all of the objects that this door is inside in, and this wall is also including this part. So it's also cutting through here. And what we now want to do is select door and change the hole depth to something that will be less than the width of this corridor. So let me go to hole depth and type in 500 millimeters. Hit enter. That should be enough to cut the hole inside of the door. Okay, so now again, let's work with the opening of the door, and what we will do again, turn on the plan in symbol plan, and it's opening the incorrect way. So I will select the door. I have to find it in the tree view and right click it and invert opening direction, and also invert, I think we will need invert the hinge direction or the hinge position. Okay, so this door is ready. Now what I did here is that this door is not, the leaf is not flush with this wall, which actually it should be. So I will not fix this door, but I will fix it on the next door that I'm creating. And it's again the same door, the same position, etc. Or actually I will create this door here with these settings. So I will go here and fire up the door tool, and I want to change this offset to, and this offset to is 50, and I will change it to 0. So this should hopefully make the door, now it's placed here. And again, I have to select, I've got the door selected, and I need to change the hole depth to 500 so it's not on the opposite wall. And for the placement, I will move it 100 millimeters this direction. So I've got the door still selected, fire up the move tool, click somewhere here, hold shift and move it 100 millimeters this way, and the door leaf is flush with the wall, as you can see. And now again I will turn on symbol plan, and it's opening in the wrong direction, so I'll right click in the tree, invert opening direction, and now it's opening well. So now let's create this wall, and we will actually use that we've got this wall, this door here, and we will just copy another piece here. So what we will do is I will look at the project from the top. I will change the display mode to wireframe, and I will select the door. I want to make sure that I've got the right door selected, and I will use the BIM copy tool. So I will start the BIM copy, and this basically works very similarly to moving. Now I've got to make sure that I've got snapping to endpoint on and snapping to working plane on. If you are interested in the snapping options, you can watch one of my tutorials which describes all of these options. So make sure that you've got these selected as I do, and now I will click on this corner, and now I'm copying the door, and I will click on this corner. So basically from the corner in both rooms, it's offset the same way, 150 to the leaf. And now if I change the view mode to as is, you can see that the door is copied, and because I used the BIM copy tool, the opening in the wall is already created also with the copy. So this is a nice feature. So now similarly I will copy this door here. The offset from the corner is the same. So again I will go to the top view and switch to wireframe, select the door, choose BIM copy, click on this corner and place it to this corner. Now if I go to as is, you can see that the door is there, including the opening. So now if we turn on the slab, we've got the final product, which is windows and walls and doors inside of the walls, as was requested by this floor plan view. So these are the basics, and now I will show you some corner cases or some other ways, other tricks to place doors and windows. Now what I will show you first is the problem that we had with this door. We had to hide the floor, which is not always practical, but now I will delete the door and also delete the sketch of the door. If I want to place the door, now it's not snapping to the endpoint. So what I will do is I will close this door, and I will actually place the door outside of the wall and then place it to the right position. So let's start the door tool. I will place it here. Now I've got the door totally independent of the wall. And actually what is nice is again to switch to wireframe, look from the top view and select the door, use the rotate tool, rotate it by 90 degrees and then move it. I can snap to the midpoint, and I will snap to the midpoint of the wall. Click here and the door is placed to the correct position. But if I look when in the shaded mode, you can see that the opening is not there in the wall because the door is independent of the wall. So what I will do is select the door and then with Control select the wall and use the arch remove component, arch remove tool, to place the door in the wall, and now the opening is there. So this is how you place, how you join basically the door or window to that wall. So this is the first option, which might be practical, to place the door completely outside, place it where it should be, and then join it to the wall. Now I will delete this door again. And the second option is to use switching of the priority of snapping. So this is a bit tricky. I recommend you watch my tutorial on snapping where it's described in more detail, but basically I will start the door tool. And now if I hover my mouse here where the midpoint of the wall is, and I use the apostrophe key just below the escape, I hit the apostrophe key and then move my mouse a little bit, it snaps to the object which has the second lowest priority. So now it's snapping to the wall and I can click and it's joined to the wall and the door is placed there. So again, I recommend you watching the snapping video of mine where this is explained, but this might be a little bit of tricky, but it's also a solution. And the third option for this problem, I will show it on the inside door. I will delete this one. And if I start the tool now, sometimes it's not possible even to snap on the endpoints of the walls. So in that case, instead of using the endpoint of edges and midpoint of edges, you can use the snap special, which works always with walls, and this one actually snaps on the leading line of the wall. That might be problematic in one way and useful in another way, but this one always works, and if I click, the door is placed there. But if I look from the top and I will actually switch to wireframe, the door is offset because it's snapping to the basically the line that's leading the position of the wall. So if I turn on the sketch, but actually it's not the wall but wall 1. So I will turn the sketch to be visible and I will change the line color to red and also change the line width to 5. You can see that the sketch, I was snapping to the endpoint of the sketch, and the sketch is set to be at, when I look at the data of the wall, it's aligned to the center. So it was snapping to the center. So this snap special is always, if I delete this door and I would place the door in the wireframe mode, the special point is always snapping to the underlying line which defines the geometry of the wall. So then you have to be careful about the offset of the wall. I could actually move it like this. I will move it in this direction by -75 and then move it again in this direction by 175, and it's placed where it actually should be. So this is another workaround which you may find useful. There are many options in FreeCAD as with other things. So this is how I place windows and doors in FreeCAD BIM. If you have better methods or some other suggestions, please write them into the comments below. And important thing to mention is that this is as a FreeCAD 1.0. I think in the future working with doors and windows will be enhanced. If you like using FreeCAD, consider supporting the project by donating to it. The link to the donation page will be in the description box below. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you in the next one.